and that is in Sudan. I want us to have a look, just quick observations on what is happening in Sudan. It's a complex crisis, this, stemming from that attempted coup by the Rapid Support Military Forces on the 15th of April of this year. And that has now taken, a series of events that have happened and, that generated quite a huge crisis in Sudan at this point. There have been several attempts for a truce, but then that could not hold. Bwana Muliro, when you're looking at that situation that is happening in Sudan, I want to get your assessment, first of all, of what has happened. You have these two military groups that are now engaging in this fighting. Is it a fight for power? Is it a fight for resources? Is it a fight for territory? What do you think is the problem in Sudan?
Thank you very much. I think I had mentioned you've sequenced this very well, right? That DRC,
as that is happening in this part,
actually DRC right, was like the classroom. Now they have learned the classroom of those who want to lord over the region for resources. So the path that was taken, DRC sustained the bodies that wanted to make resources, is easily tested now. Sudan is now easier for them because DRC was a landing place. Yeah. And again, it's just the same layers, just like DRC, the three layers. But in Sudan, we are seeing the top layer of external forces stronger than the regional rivalry.
Right.
Sudan has been more outward. The Horn of Africa region is slightly different from the Great Lakes region for one reason, that the Horn of Africa region is the most externally intervened region, the region that has attracted more external interest than any other region. You just look at Somalia, how many external. And so Sudan, with its links being active in the Arab League, and it gives it now this external perspective.
Yeah. And
now we are seeing those issues playing around into the new world order, where we have the US on one side, we have emerging China, and its pocket side player, Russia. And those are issues that are creating threats within that belt. If you look at that belt, it faces, we are looking at Sudan, going down Chad, and you are looking at Egypt, and you are looking at the Middle East. Those are extreme interests of the global powers. The African states have not played so much in that region. And therefore, you look at this and you see there are two groups. And one group is almost unorganized, that can be recognized as a legitimate, the military. Then we have another, I would call it rogue group or a mercenary group. And actually for them, it is clearer. The RSF has openly, and I think even they are now organized. We can proudly, maybe, but sorry for that, proudly say that for the first time, we have a private military security company that is African, and that is RSF, because they have been hired to fight wars in Yemen. And I can tell you, Zainab, that it is not far-fetched that they have a relationship with the now private military security company that is driving the world. We call them mercenaries, right, the Wagner. Because the Wagner have been now, I saw somewhere that selling security now, outsourcing security, has become one of the top companies in the US stock exchange. So private military security companies, we are calling them mercenaries. So we have that link. And you can clearly see in Sudan, it is easier for Africa to come in this way. That there are two perspectives. One, Africa should ask themselves the question that who among the two is good for the continent, the country, and the region? Is it the one with mercenary links, or is it the one who is filling the vacuum that has been there? Because when you look at Sudan, we are now entering almost a third coup within a coup. It's like a succession of coups, if I may call that. We have the 2019 al-Bashir, and then now we had they called it the civilian, and then they put there the civilian leader and they removed him. And then we are looking at a case where we can say Burhan has been the leader of Sudan, and now we are almost facing another third coup. And therefore, Sudan, again, huge country. Although it lost South Sudan, still very huge with many neighbors and the external links in the Arab League. We are seeing Saudi Arabia, Yemen, almost overshadowing the African process. But I would say this, that for Sudan and the people of Sudan, the most neutral arbiter that wishes them well is the African-led arbitration. It should be either the AU or IGAD. Let them subject themselves. They should not go shopping for the Arab League, shopping for the US. The US has a very strong hand, but the issue should be that they should be all this. In fact, the African Union should talk to the US because we are almost thinking on the same line. The African perspective is that the system that gives some form of legitimacy is the one that we support. And constitutional change of governments is something that is aboard. Although we know that in Sudan, I think they have had 3 civilian governments and 3 or 4 military governments. So they have, the people there politically, it has been culturalized that you respect the military general is a political leader. Is
that why it's been so hard to transition power to civilian authority?
Yes, even the civilians themselves, that's right. Even the civilians themselves see like they respect the political leadership of the military than the civilian leadership because they have been militarized for a long time. Al-Bashir was there for a long time entrenching these political systems. He created these 2 bulls that are fighting. Burhan and his own external, you know, when you mistrust your own military, you have your own mercenary group that you can use. Now the 2 groups coalesced, removed him, but I heard somewhere people saying we must remove the remnants of Al-Bashir. The remnants of Al-Bashir are in both groups. It will take a long time, maybe a generation, to remove them. It's just that somebody has been there for long. Like when President Moi was there for 24 years, we have always known that
it's a system
either sides of the team.
It's a system that has its roots deep embedded in the, you know, politics and the economy, all the dynamics surrounding, you know, Sudan. Yes. All right, let me hear from Dr. Minde on your take on this whole matter of these 2 gentlemen who are holding Sudan by